I am better than you, superior in every way, a cut above the rest frankly, just more important. At least that's what the Range Rover Sport says to everything around it. But is it actually good? Or has the facade fooled the many egos of Essex? I think we should find out. My name's Tom, and you're watching Paragon Cars. Let's go. Before we start, please like, subscribe and hit the bell if you'd like us to keep making this content. Now, Range Rovers have been around for a while, and they've always been, well, slow. Apart from the 5-litre V8, of course. However, this Range Rover has a 306 brake horsepower diesel, and with 700 Nm of torque, it's actually good for 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds. Not bad for a 2.1 tonne SUV. Let's have a look at something more realistic though, and see how she does on the 30 to 70 sprint. Well, unsurprisingly, we didn't manage the fastest time on the leaderboard, but we still achieved a reasonable time of 6.89 seconds. Not fast, but certainly not slow. Inside you'll find a leather and screen-wrapped cabin that boasts the usual captain chair style seats with adjustable armrests for that extra level of comfort. In the dash is the latest TFT display that of course shows your speed and your revs, but also your trip data and navigation. The centre console is also covered in displays, and the main one can be adjusted for the perfect angle. The lower display houses everything to do with your climate and vehicle, and thankfully they've kept physical controls for the climate and heated seats, as sadly the displays in this car are just too slow to respond in this day and age. Move further down and you'll find physical controls for the drive modes as well, and some proper cup holders. There's even some nifty storage underneath them. Now, we get onto something you don't often see in any car, and that is a fridge. You might think it's gimmicky, but it's actually really useful as a feature, and in ways you might not think as well. Of course, you can cool your drinks in there, but on a hot day, keeping the ice cream from melting on the way back from the store is a pretty neat trick. In the rear of the Range Rover is the usual bench seats. Of course, there's loads of legroom and plenty of headroom as well, but there's also plenty of features back here too. There's a TV for each passenger, heated seats, a proper armrest with storage, cup holders and even a 3-pin socket. Moving to the boot, and of course it's absolutely massive. You've got 780 litres with the seats up and a whopping 1760 with the seats down. That's enough for all the dogs and shotguns you'd ever need. Before we go driving, there's one more thing that must be mentioned, and that is the air suspension. This is hands down the best air suspension system on any luxury SUV, and that is for only one reason. When you raise or lower it, it actually completes the move before you die of old age, unlike its German counterparts. Right, let's see if this Range Rover really is the machine it's supposed to be. Our first Range Rover review then. So what's this Range Rover like driving around town? Well, as you'd expect, it's big, it gives you that commanding driving position that everyone talks about with Range Rovers. And going over speed bumps is an absolute breeze. Already you can just tell that this car is so solidly built. It really does feel like you're driving a tank. Coming out of junctions, that 8-speed gearbox just blends the gears together, and that 700 Nm of torque comes in from just 1500 RPM. So you never really feel like you're short on power when you're just driving around. Now, one thing that isn't quite as easy as other cars is the steering. Whilst it feels very chunky and purposeful, it is quite heavy. And it does mean doing slower manoeuvres like this, you kind of have to put a little bit of effort into it. But of course the one good thing about parking this Range Rover is you just go right over the curbs, it doesn't really matter. So if you are good at parking, unlike me, you can get into a space in one go. But one thing's for sure, you definitely need a reverse camera in this car because the view out the rear window is pants. Rear view camera is pretty good though, and the parking sensors are fairly accurate. They don't tend to get confused all the time. Of course, having a high driving position means coming out of junctions is really easy. It just means you get to see everything around you, even if there's big hedges next to you. Right, let's reset the trip computer and see how this diesel can perform. Even though it's a Range Rover, it should do fairly well. I think they claim about 34 to 38 miles per gallon for this car, which for a car shaped like this and a car that weighs over 2 tons is not too bad. Of course, before we get on the motorway, we've got to do the obligatory handling test. So let's see how this Range Rover handles a roundabout. We are in Eco at the minute. I'm going to flick us over into Dynamic. This will give us red dials, meaning speed and power. Gearbox over into Sport. Got increased throttle response, firmer dampers. And you know what? For a big car like this, it handles pretty well, I have to say. No more is the Range Rover a big boat. The seats actually hold you in place quite well as well. And the air suspension really does keep it flat in the corners. I mean, it's obviously not a sports car, but it is deceptively good at handling a corner, this car. It's going to be interesting to see how it handles a B-road later. For now though, we're going to go back into Eco and see how this engine performs on the motorway. Back on the motorway then. So, what's this Range Rover Sport like as a motorway cruiser? Well, so far it's pretty good. Seat comfort is okay. I've sat in some very comfortable seats in my time, and this one really doesn't say anything special. Yes, it's very adjustable. You can adjust the pitch of the base. Of course, you can recline it. There's lumbar support. There's pretty much everything you want. But it's not quite soft enough for me. I feel a car like this that is orientated around comfort fundamentally should just be a little bit softer in the seating department. Will be interesting to see though how some slightly firmer, slightly grabbier seats perform when we're on a driving road though. In terms of road noise and wind noise though, this is where the Range Rover absolutely excels. Even though we're riding on absolutely massive wheels, there is zero road noise coming into the cabin. Absolutely zero. And because we have double glazing pretty much all around the car, there is almost zero wind noise, even though this car is pretty much shaped like a brick. Then manoeuvring on the motorway, visibility is actually not bad. The B-pillar, whilst it is right next to your head, isn't super duper thick, and it means you can kind of see in your blind spot pretty easily. Having said that though, a car like this should come with a blind spot monitor as standard, I think. One of my favourite things though about this car, especially on the motorway, is just how it drives. The throttle pedal, even in Eco, is just perfectly calibrated to just give you the exact amount of power that you want. You just give it half throttle, it downshifts a couple of gears. It's so fast to respond. Yet at the same time, it's so relaxed. And again, round town, whilst the steering is quite heavy, it has a surprising amount of feel. I don't know if it's the shape of the wheel or something, but you can really tell what the front tyres are doing in this car. And on the motorway, obviously, you're not doing as much steering, so it is pretty easy to drive. Of course, being a HSE dynamic car, you get tons of options as standard. But if I could only have 3 things, you may be surprised at what I pick. First one is actually the upgraded Meridian sound system. The standard sound system is fine, but it's kind of comparable to a Hot Hatches sound system. It's good, but it doesn't really blow you away. Whereas the upgraded Meridian sound system is literally double the wattage, and that raw power brings with it clarity, definition to the sound, and it just gives you so much more headroom in terms of volume. And for a car this expensive, it really does just complete the package for me. The next thing, of course, is going to be that panoramic roof. Without it, your passengers in the back are just going to get sick, especially if you've got tinted windows as well. It really does just let a whole load more light into the cabin. Then lastly, it would be heated seats, front and rear. Keeping yourself comfortable in the driver's seat, of course, is a priority, but keeping your passengers comfortable is also a priority as well. And I think for a car like this, having heated seats in the rear is pretty important. Plus, of course, because the seats are made of leather, they do get really cold in winter. There is an optional extra to get cooled seats as well in this car, but for England it's really not that necessary. It's more of a nice to have. Okay, let's do a couple more miles on the motorway to see what our final MPG figure is. Then we're going to do some proper driving. Motorway journey over then, we managed 33.8 MPG. That's not bad for a car like this. And of course it is still going up, you can see it's at 34 now. So I reckon on a long run you'd get about 36 to 38 miles per gallon. Exactly what they claim. And for a car this big, this heavy and this un-aerodynamic, it's not bad at all, really. Okay, let's see how a Range Rover handles a B road. This could get quite interesting. On to our favourite B road then. I'm going to put the traction into sport, gearbox in sport, car in dynamic. This is the sportiest setting for the Range Rover. Apologies for the noise, that is the draggy. Couldn't quite get it. Now then, how does she handle some bigger bumps? Well, hey! This car may be big, but sport and dynamic are in the name. And they're there for a reason. This car certainly does handle well. The brake feel is good. We've got big ventilated front discs. Yeah. So far it feels pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. Suspension does a wonderful job of just keeping the car absolutely planted. And my God, does this car feel well built. I know that's kind of ironic considering these cars have quite a few issues in terms of their electronics, but build quality feels really solid in this car. And that low down grunt of this diesel engine is pretty impressive. Okay, around a tighter corner then. Steering feel is still quite remarkable for me. Do you know what? For a car as big and heavy as this, it is mighty impressive. I wouldn't say it was necessarily fun to drive down a B road, but I mean it does it. And sometimes it can be quite satisfying to just feel a big car absolutely demolishing a road. Well, I won't lie, I'm impressed. It's comfortable, it's quiet, and it's got plenty of tech. But so does pretty much every other luxury SUV. So why bother with this? I mean, it's potentially less reliable, and it doesn't handle quite as well as its competitors. Well, there's something this Range Rover does that no other luxury SUV can do. And it's quite hard to explain, really. It's like buying a top-of-the-range gaming PC and then using it to do emails and watch YouTube videos. You're not really using it for its intended purpose. But there's something inherently satisfying by just using something that is so overkill for your actual needs. It takes the what ifs and just says, yeah, I can do that. Want to drive up Everest? Yeah man, no worries. And it's that capability that just calms the mind and makes you feel like you really can just go anywhere and do anything. And that is why it really is just better. As always, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give us a like and why not subscribe? As not only can you see more content like this, you can also see everything we have for sale, including this Range Rover. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.